What the Pel is up, everybody? This is Pelicans Plus with Elliot Clough at Elliot Clough on Twitter. My apologies for not scheduling this earlier, hoping that you'll be able to drop by and listen to this podcast. We haven't done a podcast in almost a week, so had to get back on it. Once again, this episode is brought to you by Hornitos. Hornitos, the official tequila of Pelicans Plus, and Boot Crew Media. Make sure you subscribe or follow, depending on where you are listening to this podcast. You leave a rate and review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, drop a comment, drop a like. Let us know what you're thinking of today's episode and the topics at hand, because we are really getting into it today. First of all, before we get started, as you can see, my life has been kind of nuts. You've been able to see that on Twitter. I'll give you a little brief update, and then we'll get into the Pelicans. But first, you probably noticed, if you're watching on the stream, that we're in a little bit different of a setting. Yes, I got my first full-time job, and I'm very excited. And Pelicans Plus will live on. So I am doing some content creation in Iowa, and I'm very excited about it. Same delusional Pelicans fan. Yeah. So I'm very excited, and I'm ready to get going. And I'm still going to stick with as much Pelicans content as I can possibly do, and maybe get some extra media credentials, considering I'm with Town Square Media now. So I'm very excited about that. Stay tuned to see how we grow, and hopefully I'll be doing some writing, a little bit of writing about the NBA. It's mostly going to be local content here in Iowa. And we don't have an NBA team other than maybe the G League affiliate in the Wolves. So nothing crazy. But yeah, bouncing around quite a bit from vacation now to here in the office, where I actually have Wi-Fi, because I don't have Wi-Fi in my new place yet. So we should have it for the next podcast. I'll have my big Pelicans flag once again, and we will get a rolling. But anyway, let's talk about the Pelicans, because you're not here to listen about me. You're here to listen about the Pelicans. And damn, this is fun. Am I right? This is so fun. We've had fun before in watching the Pelicans. This summer league was a freaking blast. There were games last year where the Pelicans, they upset the Sixers, they beat the Bucks. We had a lot of fun in those moments. We looked like that. Well, at the beginning of the season last year, we were having fun. Eric Bledsoe had that block against the Spurs. I think they started off like 3-1. The Pelicans did something like that. I could be very wrong, but we were all very optimistic at that point in time. And then once the loss to the Pacers came, it all went downhill. And it's going to be a little bit different this time around. I can feel it. I think a lot of people have had they've been very disappointed over these last few seasons, and rightfully so. And it's going to be different this season. And I've felt optimistic before, but it was very much a wait and see kind of thing. And now we've seen the tangible product. Yes, it's preseason. Yes, Zion hasn't played. BI's only played one game. Jackson Hayes has only played one game. Jonas Valanciunas has only played one game. And it's a whole new roster. And they're gonna have to take time to get stuff figured out. We'll see a losing streak. We'll see the media clamoring for Zion to not be in New Orleans anymore. We'll see, somebody get hurt, because that's just gonna happen in an NBA season. That's what's gonna happen. It's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. And, overall, I really do firmly believe this coming season will be incredibly positive for a lot of reasons. But first of all, let's get into this win from last night. Yes, again, preseason game. It's against the Orlando Magic. We shouldn't get that excited, but damn, it was so fun. How is it not fun to watch that basketball game, even in the preseason? It was so fun. And Zion and BI didn't even play. And Jackson Hayes, who's arguably the Pelicans, he's top 2 athlete, if you want to give Zion that role, I suppose. Role isn't the right word I was going for, but this game was so damn fun. And again, it was against the Magic. And it was fun because and Trey Murphy are freaking legit. I was on the Trey Murphy bandwagon from the get-go. He was the guy that I wanted. We talked with Derek Murray from basketballnews.com. We talked with Ethan Piota of the Prospect Pod. And Trey Murphy was my guy. He's a 6'9" guy who can shoot, and he can put it on the floor way better than we gave him credit for. And he is a defender, and he is coachable. That's 5 points right off the top of my head without having seen a lot of him. We're going to get way more. He's going to continue to get better. And Willie Green is going to instill some great values into Trey Murphy. And I haven't even talked about Nah yet. This dude's shot making ability has exploded. It's gone through the roof. We saw it last night. He had that catch and shoot out of the corner and banged home a three. The dude, I am so ridiculously high on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, especially after what we saw from him in the offseason, last season, and now so far in the preseason. And I was on Pro Pels Talk, I think it was a couple weeks ago, with Pels Pod guys, the Rattler brothers. And Garrick said that he thought Nah could be an all-star. I'm not quite there yet. I will say I firmly believe in the MIP possibility, most improved player. And I really think he could get it. And I mean, Nah on a team that has BI and Zion, obviously he's not going to be the number one. And then you got Jonas Valanciunas and Devontae Graham, who Devontae Graham has shown he can fill it up. JV was probably the best player for the Grizzlies last year, if not Ja Morant. That's fine. He's number 2. And Nah looks like the third best player on this team. You got 2 solidified vets in Graham and JV, and then you got BI and Zion. And Nah looks like the third best player behind Zion and BI. To me, he does. He can create. I mean, I put this in a tweet last night that ultimately blew the frick up. And we're going to find it. Oh, nope. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is the difference for the Pelicans. They don't have to rely on BI and Zion to create. He plays defense. He distributes. He opens up everything. Place your bets on most improved player now. Do it now. The odds are still in our favor if you bet. And Nah is a legitimate candidate to take it home this year. I firmly believe that. People are talking about that this whole offseason, and it's not BS. I mean, you could put Michael Porter Jr. in that category for sure. You can put other guys. I've heard Terrence Mann being put in that category, Ja Morant, but like Ja and Zion, you can't really put there because they're already really freaking good. Like the only reason you could consider either of them is Ja making a leap in terms of 3-point shooting and Zion the same, and then defense. But most improved player really doesn't, it's not a defensive award. So I'd be pretty surprised. Anyway, the way I'm looking at these guys is Chris Connor said it. The Pelicans didn't spend their money on Zoe because they want to spend their money on Nah. And to me, possibly Jackson. The dude is a bucket maker. Again, we've talked about Devontae being a bucket maker and JV for that matter. And I think they will be. And as Zion and BI come back and are healthy, Nah keeps making shots like this offense is going to explode. We've talked about how good the offense can and is going to be. And we'll get into the defense momentarily because I'm not worried about it. But the offense can be lethal every single night. Every single night. Whether BI and Zion are out there, whether Nah is out there, whether JV is out there, whether Devontae is out there, Trey Murphy, they're going to have enough shooting to space things out that people are going to be able to create. The amount of space this team has prior to, as opposed to last year is insane. The amount of off-ball movement this team has opposed to last year is insane. This is not last year's Pelicans. This is not Stan Van Gundy's Pelicans. This is Willie Green's Pelicans. These are Willie Green's Pelicans, to be proper when it comes to grammar. This is a team you invest in and you have fun with, and you see them win way more games. This is a team that flips the lid. You know, they flip the switch, and they are not the year prior. They are not that team. They become a playoff team in one season because of a hire and because of a ton of good moves by the front office. You can blame Griff for some bad stuff, but you can also give credit to him for some good stuff, and Trajan Langdon for that matter. Trajan has shown clearly that he can evaluate talent. I know a lot of people are giving him credit for the draft picks. He was in love with Nah before the Pelicans got him, and clearly for good reason. Nah is a bucket getter, man. And like, imagine if Trey Murphy continues to shoot 60% from three. That'd be rad. I mean, this dude is automatic. Like, obviously, I'm joking. He's not going to shoot 60% from three. That's just not going to happen. But if he can be a consistent 40, I mean, even if he ends up shooting like 38% from the free throw or from the three, not the free throw line, the 3-point line this year, you have to respect it. It makes things so much easier for Zion, makes things so much easier for Jonas Valanciunas. If Najee can become a 3-point specialist in the corner and Josh Hart can do the same thing, I mean, Herb Jones is an incredible athlete. Trey Murphy opening things up. Herb's going to make the cut to the basket. There were incredible cuts last night. I mean, I am just floored with how different this team is already. And no, they're not going to come out of the gates on top of the world. This is something I've referenced before when covering the Pelicans. When the Miami Heat got Dwayne Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh all on the same team, they started off 9-8. I'm not expecting the Pelicans to beat the doors off of people, break the doors off of people initially to start the season. There's going to be lumps. There's going to be dips. There's going to be parts in the season where they struggle. But this team is clearly, far and away, on paper, off paper, so much better than they were last year. Not just we watching this team. We're not just having fun. The players are having fun. The players are having fun. Firing Stan Van Gundy might have been the best move that David Griffin has made. Hiring him might have been the worst. But hiring Willie Green in his place is a pretty damn good move too. I mean, we saw it all over Twitter last night, not only not only during the game, but on social media everywhere. We saw that tweet come out from Pro Pels Talk, Justin Napoli, my buddy from Boot Crew Media, got a video. He was at the game courtside, and you could see these guys just thrilled for each other, just having fun. And this is the preseason. I can see Stan Van Gundy in practices last year. This is pure speculation, but just saying this is the preseason. Like, it's all about business. We're here to win games and get better. And even if we win, it's not a big deal because it's the preseason. Go get better. And Willie's allowing these guys to just go out and be themselves and win basketball games and have fun. That is different. You need guys who can relate to their players, and you need guys who can have their players let loose a little bit. And that's what's happening. Let loose in the preseason. I mean, we saw the videos. We saw the post game with Na, where I think it was Trey Murphy, and Na came up and said, that's my shot maker or something like that. I mean, these guys who are 24 down to 20 with Kyra, 21 for the regular rotation, they like each other. And they got a coach on the bench in Garrett Temple. They got actual coaches who know what they're doing and know how to cultivate relationships with these guys. I've ranted about how much I love the Mike D'Antoni hire. I also love the Jerron Collins hire. I really do. This is just, and you keep Fred Vincent and you keep Teaspoon. This is just positive after positive after positive after positive, and D House for that matter. These are damn good coaches. And these are guys who understand their role and are willing to do anything and everything to help out this team. And to speak a little bit more holistically about the Pelicans, I mean, people are already counting them out. Pretty much anytime you pose anything positive about the Pelicans via social media, there'll be a random account that finds your tweet and tweets something negative. That's what's just going to happen. You can see that on any fan base, really. But when it comes to the Pelicans, we've seen it a lot. I have seen random podcasts come by my tweets and say something negative. I've seen random individuals who have like 4 followers stop by and say something negative. But that's Twitter in a nutshell, really. And it's really hard for me not to say anything back to these guys, but I just don't. It's not worth our time. It's not worth anybody's time. And honestly, I kind of love it. Very true. Re-finesse. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, bro. Re-finesse. Every media is just hating on us, but keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it, bro. Levi example. I appreciate it. But anyway, I kind of enjoy it because the way this team looks right now, I mean, I've said it. This isn't last year's Pelicans. It's just not. And boom, speaking facts, I love it, man. Our team is growing no matter what. The Pelicans are growing no matter what. I kind of love it, the negativity, because I really believe this team has flipped its switch and they are better than last year. And they're going to take guys by surprise when they start winning games and they see this negative narrative against them via the internet, via social media, via ESPN and Fox Sports and Bleacher Report that is anti-Pelicans, anti-New Orleans. And I see Willie Green and Nah and BI and Garrett Temple stepping into the limelight or stepping into the spotlight with this team and saying, look, we are damn good. And they hate it. Let's go kick their ass. Let's go kick their ass. And nothing like a little adversity to light a little fire in your team, right? Boom. Ree is really on top of things for this podcast right now. Appreciate you, Ree. If you're on Facebook, you can comment as well. If you're listening on Twitter, hop over to Facebook or YouTube and drop a comment. Engage with us a little bit. We love hearing from you here on Pelicans Plus. But anyway, as I was saying, you really think the Lakers, the Bucks, the 76ers, the Nets are going to take the Pelicans seriously this year? Wait till the Pelicans come out and start winning games on a regular basis. And then they just take these teams by surprise. These are wins that are certainly possible. The Pelicans won games against the 76ers and the Bucks last year when they weren't half as good as they are now. And sure, the NBA might catch on maybe halfway through the season when the Pelicans are starting to really kick butt, kick ass. But this team, I've said it. I think the standard and the expectation, I'm almost lowering the positivity when I say this, is probably 41 to 45 games this year. And that is astronomically better than what they did last year. That gets you to the 6-7 seed in the West. And if they can get up closer to 50 games, that's a guaranteed playoff spot. That's not a play-in game. That's going out and winning games. That's going out and getting into the first round of the playoffs without having to play in the play-in. And I mean, saying they don't want us to reach that potential, but that potential is very real. And it's very tangible. And the Pelicans are touching it already. Like when you talk about potential and you talk about guys who are already talented, like the combination of the two and that they've shown they can really pop off in the NBA, that scares the hell out of people. B.I., Zion, Nah, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and Herb is incredibly raw still. But he is... These guys are they're out there moving off ball, playing defense, running the floor, and they're having fun together, and they're friends. I mean, I love the fact that Kyra and Herb had that that alley-oop last night. That was fun as hell. That was another moment during the game where we saw these guys clap or, high-fiving, clapping, running up, hugging each other. And it's the second game of the preseason. These guys are that type of friends already because Willie Green has cultivated that type of environment where it's a positive thing to have fun and to enjoy your teammates. It's simple as that. I mean, and the fact that he's played before and he can recognize how to do that is awesome. I mean, to reiterate about this Pelicans team taking guys off guard, taking teams off guard. I mean, last night, like I said, was super fun. I mean, and JV got ejected. The Pelicans' first quarter was awful. They were 4 of 24 from the field, and then they won. And on top of that, with this team, going forward, with this team, guys, there's bucket getters on this team. And I've said that a couple times about Nah, about B.I., Zion, Devontae Graham, JV. But there's guys who aren't bucket getters necessarily. That wouldn't be their first label as who they are as a player, like a defender or a long guy or a guy who can get boards or just a guy who's gritty. Herb, Najee, Jackson, Josh Hart, Satoransky. I mean, Temple, if he sees the floor at all this year. And they don't have to be, because the level of offense you get from the aforementioned bucket getters, and to a degree Trey, because, I mean, you know, he's not going to be shooting 60% every night, like I mentioned, but he's a shooter, man. He's a shooter, and that's going to make things so much easier for these other players. And my God, do I love Herb Jones. Holy crap. This kid from Alabama is a freaking delight to watch play basketball. That guy is a basketball player, man. He's every time he enters the game, the team has a little bit of a spark. Whether that's because they like the way he plays basketball, like who he is as a person, I don't know. But it's so fun when he steps on the floor for a lot of reasons. And coming at it again, I appreciate all the comments, man. Herb and Trey are better than I thought, and same. And I love Trey coming out of the draft. Trey is so much more mature than the average 21-year-old. Saying hi to his mom after the game and playing with his friends. Having fun with the guys, but also talking about being coachable after the game. And I mean, Trey looks like he can lead the team. He's 21. I think he'll lead in terms of just being a professional. Maybe not, being a vocal guy or anything like that, but he is just, and he doesn't have an ego. Exactly. We are on the same wavelength, man. So again, popping in there, but. And I've seen people say that Herb won't be in the rotation, and that it's like presumptuous to see that he'll be in the rotation. But I mean, this team is going to go 10 deep. They're going to run. They're going to run, and they're going to play defense, and that requires effort and energy and fitness. And if you can rotate guys in and you have that much depth to where you trust your players to play that deep, and each person fills a role and knows where they're at and decides to fill that role to the best of their capabilities. I mean, BI, Zion, Devontae, JV, Trey, Jackson, Najee, Josh Hart, Herb, in my opinion. That's the 10. And, somebody's going to get hurt. Like I said, Sato, Billy, Kyra, all guys who can play. And I mean, they're still winning. We'll see how that shakes out. But and like Kyra looked really good last night. I mean, just the way how deep and talented this team is. I mean, somebody might be played off the floor. There's just so much depth to this team that the Pelicans just have not had in recent years. They couldn't really go more than 8 deep this last year. And I said this yesterday on Hoopball Pelicans with Lyle Swithenbank. By the way, check it out. Really fun pod. Lyle's awesome. He always makes me laugh. He's a really good dude. That 8 deep thing, not happening anymore. It's not. That's not who the Pelicans are anymore. The overuse injuries are going to be less likely. You're going to have guys who are fresh come postseason. You can run. Like when you have that type of depth and these type of players, these long guys who are young and fit, like Najee, like Herb, like Trey, and it's just going to be scary, man. It's going to be scary because you got athletes, you got youth, you got length. And you got high IQ guys like JV, like Brandon, like Billy, who can help from the sideline. Trey is pretty freaking high basketball IQ for being 21. Josh Hart, Najee, Herb he's just a Draymond Green type. Not quite as thick, obviously, but that's what he is. I mean, and you can get these big guys off the court, whether it's your own big guys or the opposing big guys. You think Rudy Gobert is going to want to run with this team? You think Kristaps Porzingis, not that he's relevant really anymore, is going to want to run with this team? And I mean, and you can put in Jackson and he can run with these guys. This is good all around. I mean, and it's not just Herb that make you excited about that. I mean, like I listed all those young guys, and then when you're talking about speed, you put a lineup of, and we saw it last night as Herb at the 5, and that's scary because I mean he's a 0.5 in essence. He can protect the rim because of his length and athleticism, and he's, I mean, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He was an awesome pickup for the Pelicans in the second round at 35. I think that was the 35th pick. But in terms of speed and length and being able to play defense, I just thought of this lineup while I was preparing for today's pod. You got Herb, you got probably Najee, Trey, and BI. And you got 4 guys who can defend. BI who can create his own shot, who can create his own shot, Najee to a degree who's a creator, Trey who can fill it up from deep, Herb who can facilitate and play a 0.5 in essence and protect the basket, Trey who can defend the best player, or Najee. I mean, you just go out and put length on the floor and BI who's a bucket getter and who's going to improve defensively. And that lineup, whew, man, that would be so freaking fun. That would be so freaking fun. And like I said, you can put Jackson in these lineups too as an actual big. I mean, that lineup that I just mentioned is just the freaking lineup from hell in terms of speed, length, and defense. it just sounds like a freaking blast to watch in terms of basketball. One more thing I want to get to before we get out of here. Again, you can comment anywhere, but preferably Facebook, YouTube, because we can no longer share comments on the screen from Twitter, which is a little annoying. But you can comment on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll get you up on the screen like Ree has been as of late. He's killing it. Yeah, exactly. All the things that I was mentioning, we can attack in a lot of different ways, as in the Pelicans. But one more thing I want to address before we go, just because I have a meeting at 6, but and I've already made reference to it. Willie Green has instituted a culture shift. This team is having fun. I mean, like, what the hell? We haven't seen that before. We haven't seen it. We didn't see it last season, really, unless they were beating really good teams. They're having fun, and they're trying on defense, which we definitely haven't seen before. Willie Green has instituted accountability, but accountability is almost a taboo word after last season. But responsibility, respect, fun, and playing basketball the right way. And we've talked about the buy-in with Willie Green. We've talked about how he'll have more influence than an Alvin Gentry, because Alvin's so laissez-faire, and SVG because he was such a hard ass. And they have Jerron Collins and they have Mike D'Antoni. This is amazing. This is not your father's Pelicans. It's not your brother's Pelicans, not your mom's Pelicans. They're Willie Green's Pelicans. Not the Pelicans of yore. Willie Green's. This is different. They're positive. They got smiles on their face. They're friends. The 2021-2022 Pelicans are different. They're different this time around. I'm excited to see what they come forth with this year, and it's going to be fun. And dream team of coaching, exactly. I don't know if this is legit. I'm going to post it on the screen because I want to, but Herb Jones signed the second largest contract in history by a second round pick. I will have to verify that. That's interesting. Thank you, Devontae Formayer. If that's true, I misinformation. It's not that I don't trust you. It's that I don't trust information in general in 2021. But anyway, folks, thanks for coming out. Thanks for tuning into today's podcast. I'm Elliot Clough with the Pelicans Plus podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let us know, how are you feeling about the start of the season? What's your favorite part? What are you most excited about? And what has this preseason made you most excited about this for this coming year? Appreciate you, appreciate you commenting. Come back for our next episode, whenever that is. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll try to schedule more further out. But Again, before you go, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, drop a comment. Let us know what makes you most excited about this coming season, especially if it's something that I didn't bring up. Or if you just agree with me, disagree, drop a comment. I want to hear from you. Let's get into it. But before we go, reminder, Hornitos is the official tequila of Pelicans Plus and Boot Crew Media. Go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that. And also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave that rate and review. It really truly does help us out. We're looking to get a few more of those as we progress. Also, we're getting closer to 20,000 downloads and 100 episodes of Pelicans Plus. So we will be doing a giveaway here soon, whether it's whatever comes first, probably going to be 20,000 downloads, which is pretty cool. And thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. We will be back soon. Once again, I am Elliot Clough, at Elliot Clough on Twitter, and this was Pelicans Plus.